Tinubu has removed Mele Kyari as the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and dissolved its board. Now, the decision, which took immediate effect, was announced in a statement signed by Bayo Onanuga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, early Wednesday. Citing the need for enhanced operational efficiency, restored investor confidence, and a more commercially viable NNPC, President Tinubu invoked his powers under Section 59 of the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA 2021, to carry out the sweeping reconstitution.
As part of the overhaul, Bayo Ojulari takes over from Kyari as the new group CEO, while Amadou Musa Kida has been appointed as the NNPC's new non-executive chairman, replacing Pius Akinyelure. Also, Adedapo Shegun has been confirmed as the company's chief financial officer. In line with the PIA, the president also appointed 6 non-executive directors from each geopolitical zones. The president affirms that this restructuring is aimed at repositioning NNPC Limited for greater productivity and efficiency in line with global best practices. For more on the restructuring within the NNPCL, we have a member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Clement Jimbo, who joins us now live via Zoom. Also, we have joining us Bala Zaka, a petroleum engineer, who is also live with us via Zoom. Gentlemen, it's good to have you on the program this morning. All right, I would like to begin with you, Honorable Jimbo. What's your immediate reaction to President Bola Tinubu's reconstitution of the management of the NNPCL and also the board? Because you once promised to sponsor a bill, or is it a motion now to, call for his suspension? Oh, I hear we don't have him online. Bala Zaka, can you hear me? Bala Zaka.
Bala Zaka, please, can you unmute the audio of your device?
Well, while we wait for them to resolve that, it's quite a development in the oil and gas sector, and we see a deliberate attempt of President Bola Tinubu to ensure productivity and efficiency of that sector. Of course, a lot of mixed reactions have trailed this development, but I would like to hear from you. What are your own thoughts on this? What is your reaction?
I think before now, I'm one of those Nigerians that have always asked that probably Mele Kyari should be let go. Maybe not necessarily that he has not performed. We've seen a lot of transformation while he was there, but probably because sometimes you also need to inject fresh blood into an agency and see whether it will come with better idea, because idea does not rest to just one person. And also, if you look at it, he actually clocked the age of 60 January this year. So if you go by the civil service rules, he's reached the age for retirement. So I guess the president looked at all those things and probably the calls from the public that, look, we need to inject. He talked about efficiency. So let's see the new man on the saddle now. How can you improve on what Mele Kyari, where he stopped? I think that's what we need, an NNPCL that can compete globally. Of
course, it's all about the efficiency, because one of the criticisms that has trailed Mele Kyari's legacy is about the performance of the oil sector, especially with the oil local refineries not even coming on board. We have seen little to no performance in terms of production. And, this has raised a lot of questions, including transparency, accountability of the NNPC. All this have come into question, but also some of his supporters have also said we should give him his credit. He has made his mark, especially with the smooth transitioning of, the NNPC to a limited liability company. And also, it has improved accountability according to them. But I hear that we have a guest now with us on the show. Honorable Clement Jimbo, do I have your attention? All right, Bala Zaka. Bala Zaka, can you unmute the audio of your device? We don't have an audio from you. All right. Attention will still shift to this new reconstituted management of the NNPC to see how indeed they will perform. President Tinubu has set new targets. We understand that his projection is that investment should hit a $30 billion mark by 2027, and also 200,000 barrels, oil production should hit 200,000 barrels per day. It will be a challenge on the part of this new constituted management of the NNPCL. We will definitely hope to see how they, execute this new target.
Exactly. For me, part of my immediate goals for this new management is, move the NNPC from where it is now to the stock market. Let it be truly owned by the public, and let's see how it will perform as an entity on the stock market. And also, whatever you do, you owe Nigerians that responsibility to invest in refining capacity. We have Dangote refinery working now. Yeah. The Port Harcourt refinery, the Warri refinery, the Kaduna refinery. We don't know how efficient they are with the land they came on board, but how much are they contributing to our fuel supply today in Nigeria? I think that should be the major task of the new man on the saddle, that look, we must play down the importation of fuel. We must produce our fuel. And if he can do that, I think the public will, Nigerians will celebrate him that, yes, this is what we really want. Also,
the tension that has existed between the NNPCL and Dangote refinery, a lot of people have said that that is an issue that should be looked at, especially one major factor that this new constituted board should revisit is the Naira for crude. Dangote has been very vocal, about his investments in the country and how he feels that it has been frustrated so far, and that has led to, the increase of petroleum pump price. We hear that we have Honorable Clement Jimbo online now. Honorable Clement Jimbo, do we have you online? Can you hear me? Honorable Clement Jimbo. All right, we'll take a quick commercial break of the NNPCL and the board. We apologize for, the technical or network glitches we experienced earlier, but we hear that we have Bala Zaka, the petroleum engineer, now online. Mr. Bala, it's good to have you on the program this morning.
Thank you, and I greet our listeners and viewers across the globe.
All right. We greet you too. Well, the reconstituted management of the NNPC Limited is to enhance, operational efficiency and productivity and take it beyond the current trend that is on right now. Let's talk about some of the successes achieved under the Kyari leadership. How notable are they?
Well, first of all, when the news broke out, it was received with joy, not only in the Nigerian oil and gas industry or within the continent of Africa, but across the globe, because the individuals that were recently appointed have been individuals that make exploits across the globe, whether you are talking about the upstream, the midstream, or the downstream. And as far as technical operations and whether commercial and other operations are concerned, they've also made strides, whether you are talking about land operations, swamp operations, shallow waters, and deep offshore. And because of that, we are likely to see a very good transition.
Bala Zaka, are you there? I think there's a hitch there now.
Well, it seems to, the popular opinion is that it's a welcome development. There needs to be fresh blood injected to the sector, the need of new ideas, a need for the NNPC to be more productive, even as a Nigerian oil company. Yeah,
but I don't want to be too excited about the change of guard, because when Kyari came on board also, there was that excitement that he came on board. But years after, complaints came in. So with the new man, welcome on board. But there are basic challenges and the low-hanging fruits. What we expect that you do, refining capacity And if the Port Harcourt, the Warri don't have that capacity, they are moribund, sell them, don't invest public fund. I think by the time we come to terms that, look, these are not viable, we'll sell them, they will start working on how to bring in private sectors to have other private refineries, so just, not just the Dangote refinery.
Balazaka, we hear that we have you now online. Can you continue from where you left off?
Oh, Balazaka. Oh, okay. I think, like I was saying, they need to be excited, but let's not be too excited. Okay. Set the goals, set targets, and give timeline. Not just set target, give timeline for the new man.
Also, the sincerity of the newly constituted management is also something that Nigerians will keep their eyes on, because, of course, a lot of people blame the past management for its activities being shrouded in secrecy. We saw when they come before the National Assembly, they find a difficult time, getting some kind of information from them. So a lot of people will definitely look forward to this new management. How accountable will it be? How transparent will it be in its operations and all of that?
The question also is the NNPC truly privatized?
That's another question.
So if it's truly privatized, why won't you give your figures to the investing public?
Of course,
I think that should be the next point of call. If it's shrouded in secrecy, let's move it from government-owned control to private control. Let it operate
because the production and capacity of the country is still in question. Whether or not the NNPC is remitting, how much it's remitting to the Federation account
only they
is
know
still
how
in
much.
question.
Exactly.
But of course, we hope that that is resolved with this new management. Mr. Balazaka, I hear that you're with us now.
Yes, I'm with you. I've been with you since 8 o'clock.
Yes.
I can hear you.
We apologize that we are having network, challenges, but you can continue with what you were saying earlier.
Okay, like I said, it is a very good injection into the activities of the Nigerian oil and gas industry, because the personalities that were recently appointed were personalities that have achieved it across the globe, not only in Nigeria. So I see an interesting moment. For me personally, like you said, we need to set our tasks and targets for them. Personally, I want to start by saying that based on this appointment, I will want us to come up with the dossier of our oil and gas endowments across the country and across the basins. Starting with the Niger Delta basins, I want to know the quantity of crude oil and gas that we have. After that, let us look at the Dahomey basin, know the quantity of crude oil and gas that we have. From there, let us go to the Anambra basin. After Anambra basin, let us go to Benue Trough. From Benue Trough, let us go to Chad basin and Gongola basin. Let us start with that. The moment we start with that, we will assemble that and know our natural gas and crude oil assets. From there, let us look at the campaigns that have been going on, the exploration campaigns, whether we are talking about land concessions.
Yeah, Balazaka. Yeah, I think quite interesting, the aspect he's talking about. Let's know what our capacity is at the moment. But my worry is it that easy? If it's that easy, why is it that we've not been able to know that all these years? So what are the hindrances? What are the bottlenecks in that?
I believe President Tinubu would have carefully selected this set of the management, because these are people that have made their mark also in the oil and gas sector, and carefully selecting them is his own belief that they are up to the task. It's just left to see, if they are going to be able to, live up to what is expected of them. And a lot of Nigerians are hoping for a lot of reforms, especially reforms made by, President Bola Tinubu in the oil and gas sector to come into fruition. The cost of prompt price, the PMS, it's really biting hard on Nigerians. And this is one thing that Nigerians hope that will be resolved, and will be resolved in good time. Also securing investments, you know, for the country, especially in the oil and gas sector, even with the new target that has been set by President Bola Tinubu. Yeah. It's just to refurbish.
Yeah, I understand Bala is back.
Okay.
Mr. Bala, Mr. Zaka? Okay. So yeah, my own thought also is, I think there should be an alignment of the political interests with the technical interests. Now, Bala just talked about these persons that they are globally recognized, they are industry players, but also, you know, beyond just being an industry player, you're also going to be dealing with a lot of political interests. But if the body language of Mr. President is to have a total overhaul, then he can personally drive that, because he's even the Minister of Petroleum. Yeah, so he can personally drive that, so that whatever political bottlenecks is on the way of the new management, the president can stamp his feet on the ground and say, look, this is what I want to achieve in my own time as president. And we'll have it.
Mr. Bala Zaka. Mr. Bala Zaka. All right. We'll still take a quick commercial break. Let's resolve our network challenges. We'll be right back. Breakfast, and we're live in our Abuja studio. We're still discussing the reconstituted management of the NNPCL. Well, we're still having some network challenges, but let's still discuss on this matter. I was saying the new, the pump price is also one major issue that Nigerians are looking forward to, because we saw a decline in the pump price, but all of a sudden there are still these fluctuations, and even the Dangote refinery says this is as a result of him purchasing crude oil at a very expensive price. Right. We saw him also drag, you know, international oil companies for, you know, deliberately fixing high rates of crude oil. I think it's also players in the game should also be deliberate, because you're dealing with Nigerians, and, you know, they have had a lot to deal with. Just suppress your own, possibly, will I call it ego or interest? In the interest of the general Nigerians.
The back and forth between NNPC and Dangote refinery is needless. Of course. If truly we have this national interest, I think this new management should look at that aspect and see how they can deal with that aspect. We don't need it. Of course. If you look at the overriding national interest and all that.
Honorable Clement Jimbo.
Good morning, Nigerians, and good morning, TVC.
Good morning to you, Honorable. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, I would like to come in here with a question. What is your immediate reaction to the decision of President Bola Tinubu to reconstitute a new management and a board of the NNPCL, because you have once promised to sponsor a bill, or will I say a motion now, for his dismissal?
Well, thank you very much. The reconstitution of the board of NNPCL was seriously long overdue. And I'm very happy that the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation has finally heeded to the cries and calls from Nigerians. It is not the President that has relieved the board, the former board, of their responsibilities. It is Nigerians. Because obviously they were not meeting with the demands and the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians vis-a-vis their responsibilities of manning such offices. Because if you look at what the World Bank has stipulated as the core element of governance, management is one of it, accountability is one of it, development is one of it, and transparency is one of it. And if you subject their responsibilities on the template of this element of governance as stipulated by World Bank, they were completely lacking in almost all. And Nigerians were the one that get the pains, the suffering. So the president has done it very, very wise to let them go and equally bring in new minds and new energies on board to see how to navigate and keep navigating Nigerians and Nigeria Petroleum
Okay. Honorable Jimbo. Honorable Jimbo. Okay, we'll come back to Honorable Jimbo when we'll get his connection right.
Yeah. Well, with the appointment of Bayo Ojulari as the new CEO of the NNPC Limited, many are asking what makes him the right man for the job. Well, I would like to read his profile. Just before we get our guests back. Bayo Bashir Ojulari is a newly appointed Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. He is a renowned Nigerian engineer and expert in petroleum process and production engineering. Ojulari had an illustrious career spanning over 3 decades, holding various leadership positions. This includes being the Managing Director of Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company from 2015 to 2021. He has worked in Europe and the Middle East, showcasing his global expertise in petroleum engineering and other related fields. Ojulari had served as chairman of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, Nigeria Council, and is a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. He was appointed managing director of NNPCL and General Manager Deep Waters in November 2015. After retiring from Shell in July 2021, Ojulari became chairman of the BAT Advisory and Energy Company. Ojulari's appointment is expected to usher in a new era of growth and development for Nigerian oil and gas industry, which has been grappling with so many challenges, such as inefficient management, corruption, and lack of transparency. Well, as you can see from his rich resume, it seems that,
But beyond that.
Beyond that, what do you think?
The tax, he's the man, is the new sheriff in town now. Mm-hmm. And let him put his CV side by side, his capacity to move mountains.
I think
because definitely there are mountains ahead of him.
Because
there are a lot of interests.
Yeah. Reality is what comes to play here. It's not just about, the shiny awards and everything. What can you offer Nigerians? Because this is a big tax. This is a huge problem. Petroleum is actually the lifeline of the country.
Economy.
That is the Nigeria's economy. That is what the economy solely depends on. And, a lot of eyes, a lot of interests are on this sector to ensure that it's productive and it moves forward.
We usually talk about transparency of the NNPCL. Now, TJ, we have the oversight of the National Assembly, both houses of the National Assembly. Why is it that all these political interests have not been able to come hard on NNPCL?
Well,
and also you have the presidency in there. So at the end of the day, is it just a problem of the NNPCL or also of the political interests?
I believe political will also comes into play, deliberate attempts by, these people that are the helms of affairs to ensure efficiency on its part. I'll give it to the National Assembly because several times we've seen them, calling this NNPC to the table of discussion to find out what they are doing. And sometimes they are even frustrated because they claim that,
But has there been sanctions?
No, there has not been sanctions.
Exactly. So if you are oversighting and you raise a query and the person did not meet you don't answer your query, you sanction.
Will I call it emotional blackmail sometimes on their part? Because anytime they try to, NNPC always comes with, maybe their hands are tied.
Who is tying whose hands?
We'll find out. But Engineer Zaka, we hear that we have you now. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, we just read out the rich resume of the new sheriff in town, and let's place it. Let's hear from you. What exactly will you expect? Immediate step you will expect him to take now?
Well, like I said before, the first thing they need to do is to make sure we know our endowment as far as proved reserves are concerned. Across the potential geological or sedimentary basins that we have in Nigeria. That is the first thing they need to do. Then after that, we need to look at our drilling campaigns. That is drilling and exploration campaigns. Where are we today? Once we get that sorted out, we need to know what is going on land concessions, swamp operations and deep offshore. The moment we get that sorted out, then the next thing is we need to practically look at the operating conditions in the oil and gas industry. How safe is the industry? How harsh is the industry? What is the business climate operation or hostility going on in the oil and gas industry? Then after that, we need to also make sure we do something about our volume production. What is hampering production in the oil and gas industry? We also need to look at the cost of production in Nigeria, what we technically call production cost per barrel. By the time we look at all this now, then they need to also come up with a timetable at their level, because they've all done well. You know, Mr. Ojulari has done well, Musa Chida has done well, Omotowa has done well, Dr. Avuru has done well. They are all great guys in the industry, and I will appreciate it if from their own innovation, on monthly basis, let us be getting briefings. On monthly basis from them. Let there be a spokesman. Let us know how we are doing in terms of drilling, production, and completions. And if there are restrictions or hitches, we need to also know. We need to do the same thing as far as service deliverability is concerned. How are the service companies operating? What are their constraints? Because for somebody like me as a practitioner, till this morning, I can tell you, there are concerns that we are having. We are having safety concerns. We are having logistics concerns. We are even having community concerns. They need to address this because they have been very successful. None of them is a greenhorn. They have made strides and exploits. And after that, again, we need to look at the refineries because there is a need for Nigeria to be sufficient in terms of what we technically call distillates, crude oil byproducts. There is no reason why we shouldn't have enough petrol. There is no reason why we shouldn't have enough diesel. The same thing, we should be able to have enough cooking gas that we technically call LPG. So when we look at this, I mean, then we look at other areas again. What are we doing about our gas endowments? Have we been able to drive our gas to make sure we move the turbines and generate electricity? I personally know that from natural gas, we will get ammonia. From ammonia, we will get urea. From urea, we will get fertilizer. Are we self-sufficient in fertilizer? They need to look at all this. It is something that is achievable based on the current team that we have right now.
Now, one immediate challenge for the NNPCL management will be revisiting the crude for Naira deal, which has already expired and led to increase in pump price of PMS. How should they carefully navigate this hurdle and allay the fears of the price of the product and ensure that the price of the product does not continue to rise?
Oh, Balazaka. Seem to have lost that connection again.
Technical business need to separate it, and I've noticed that there has been so much confusion, which a lot of people don't really understand. The crude oil that you refine in your state-owned refinery for your internal consumption should be separated from the quantity of crude oil that you produce in order to be able to meet up with your OPEC quota. That's the first thing that we need to do. The quantity you send to meet up with the requirement or the allocation of a country is different from what you are supposed to internally consume to make sure you create what we call aggregate mobility of activities and sufficiency.
I think that is instructive. If you have that separation, so you don't what you supply, for instance, to Dangote, well, the price will be different from what you now export to meet your global obligation.
Of course.
If that is done, there might be that reasonable gap of pricing in Nigeria.
We definitely hope that, like I said earlier, the new constituted bodies are able to live up to the task, because a lot can be said, giving them a lot of targets to meet. How willing are they, and how ready,
and how easy,
and how
those things you have said, how easy
to achieve it. Well, okay, we have
well, you heard our conversation. How easy are these targets you're asking that should be set for these guys?
New management.
Yeah. Mr. Zaka?
No. Are you talking to me or to Honorable?
Yes.
No, to you, please. How easy are these targets achievable?
The targets are achievable because, like we said, these are strategic achievers. They've already succeeded. They've succeeded on land operations. They've succeeded on swam and deep offshore operations. So we are not talking about greenhorns here. The experience is there. All that needs to happen is to make sure we do everything in national interest. There shouldn't be anything called political interference. If there is no political interference, it is achievable. And like I said, on monthly basis, let there be briefings. We want to know how well are we doing in terms of building our reserves? How well are we doing in terms of drilling and exploration campaign? And to a great extent, again, to what extent are we making progress as far as reviving our refineries? Because it doesn't make sense that with our technical abilities, we will have 4 moribund refineries. And we should always make it very clear. Government is about provision of goods and services. I have never come across a country that will have 4 state-owned refineries and have our own endowment of crude oil and will go out to go and import a liter of petrol or diesel or kerosene. And with the kind of guys that we have and with the technical injection that we have right now, I see us achieving it seamlessly. And like I said, let us come up. Let it be one of their KPIs, that is key performance indicators. On monthly basis, let us know how we are progressing. How are we progressing about genuinely making sure our refineries, state-owned refineries, come on stream? What are we doing to make sure we analyze the potential basins to build our crude oil and gas reserve? What are the constraints that the operators are having, whether they are international oil companies or marginal operators? What are we doing to guarantee safety around the operating areas? Because we discuss this every day in our morning meetings. We will discuss about safety, we will talk about logistics, we will talk about the operations, and we'll also talk about what we call production cost per barrel every day. And because they have superintendent in all these areas, this time around, there are no excuses. I don't see any excuses coming up. Right. The oil and gas industry practitioners are happy. The global oil and gas industry practitioners are happy because they work across different companies. All right. Like when you talk now, Ojulari has worked across Shell.
Unfortunately, we run out of time. Yes. Well, we must thank you so much for your contributions on the program, although we hoped that we could get more from you, but network was definitely not our friend today. Well, thank you so much for your time with us on the program.
Exactly.
Well, that's the